Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, and I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. Today, in part two, we delve more into the world of ESG, or environmental, social, and governance issues, as a concept, of course, as well as all of the issues attendant in there. ESG has certainly emerged to be a central occupation for governments, advocacy groups, and not the least, our corporations. As demands for corporate accountability change and grow, ESG is now at the center of the debate. Joining us to discuss are three people with important perspectives on this. Jocelyn Bamford is a vice president at Automatic Coating Limited and founder of the Concerned Coalition of Manufacturers. She also hosts her own very successful news forum show entitled Canadian Innovators. Bryan Gould is also with us. He's the president of Aspenleaf Energy Limited. And last but not the least is Rick Perkins. He's a member of Parliament for South Shore St. Margaret's in Nova Scotia, and he is also the Shadow Minister for Innovation, Science and Industry. Welcome back to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Getting back to the questions about ESG, and Bryan, I want to start with you on this. How does, I think you did raise governance issues as kind of a focal point of your concerns. How does ESG fit into the fiduciary relationships between the investor, the shareholder, and the C-suite? I'd love to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, so let me give you a couple of insights. First off, I mean, we track and measure many of these factors. So this is not about lack of transparency or accountability. It's about prioritization and allocation of resources. I have a board of directors. They represent the investors in the company. And by the way, we've also, through ESG, stigmatized this concept of profitability and return on investment. And my investors, we're not, these crazy rich oil barons as portrayed by the Prime Minister. My investors are pension funds, college endowments, medical research institutes, art galleries. These are the things that people really care about. And our profits, when we make them, flow to those causes. And to me, that's how you fund ESG and prosperity. We do govern through this. We report on our environmental performance. We track our relationship with communities. And I think Rick made the point in some earlier questions. We do this because it's in the best interest of the company. We cannot operate if we do not have good relationships with the communities that we operate in. We do a ton of work with First Nations who live in our communities and are our neighbors. And we're very proud of that. But we don't do it because we're told to do it. We do it because it's the right thing to do. And it creates an environment where our business can succeed and thrive. So that's how the system works. And I would suggest that when people let the system govern itself, we will find the right ways to do the right thing for success.
Jocelyn, I'd love to get your perspective too, as a business person. The reason I raised the fiduciary responsibilities is because there's a lot of settled law on this in Canada and elsewhere that the management has to look after the interests of the investors and the shareholders. And now there's this overlay of ESG, which may not be in the interests of the investors and the shareholders. I'd love to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, 100%. And you just have to look at what happened with the cryptocurrency FTX company, who got a better ESG score on governance than Exxon. And, that was looking to be like a giant Ponzi scheme. So you look at this and it doesn't meet the smell test. And as Bryan said, we have a duty as companies to make sure that we are looking after our employees. We are looking after the environment. There's current rules in existence that regulate all this. Layering on ESG just adds red tape. And it really is not about letting the free market run as the free market, but it's about, I would argue, replacing the incumbent energy provider, which is the fossil fuel industry, with green energy, and on the taxpayer's dime. So, if you took that taxpayer's dime out of the green energy movement, and you just said we're going to let the best products move and fail on their own efforts, you wouldn't see the move to green energy that you do. And so you look at it, and it's just it is nonsensical
Right.
what they're pushing.
Right.